So tell us about your amps, Simon.
Well, these are the current ones, I suppose. They started back in the mid-90s, so sort of 25 years nearly.
You got
I think since
enough.
the first ones. And since I think the wooden framed ones are sort of no holes barred, full performance ones. They sort of started maybe, they were sort of then offhand known as the 15th anniversary amplifiers, because that's how long they've been going when they started. And then to introduce something that's a bit more sort of price competitive, introduce the new aluminium case range. So it's the preamplifier, and they're the 20th anniversary range. So the sort of the idea is that the wooden ones are made to order. There's options about what kind of wood surround. They're all full hardwood surround. You can choose different ones. You can choose your own panel colours.
Expensive?
They start at around about £10,000 and go upwards from there. The aluminium ones start at around about £5,000.
And you're distributing these in the UK? Yeah?
No, we're selling them in the UK.
Okay.
Through Definitive Audio.
Okay.
But we've been working and collaborating a fair amount and doing a lot of.
Kevin was one of the original dealers back in the 90s.
Yes.
For the
Model 1.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we've known each other some time.
We've known each other a long time, and Simon's been way too busy with his professional acoustics business to knuckle down and make.
So you're from a professional?
Yeah, I'm an acoustics consultant.
Oh, right,
okay. That's my real job.
Okay.
And yeah, I have a background in acoustics and electronics, and I've always been building amplifiers, and I've always been working.
As a hobby or?
No, semi-professionally, and then professionally as an acoustics engineer. So sort of mix the two together.
It's quite nice though that somebody making an amplifier driven by sort of curiosity and love and passion, rather than by pressing commercial realities, and you end up with the path that you follow. You end up with something absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
So you brought your own power supply? Tell us about that.
Well, a long time ago, a guy wanted to have a pretty serious audio system on a yacht, and on a yacht, you'd be using a regenerated, you'd be using a battery system with a charger and inverters. And in order to do a proper job for him, we bought a big system that the like of which he was going to be using this very fancy system with. And it was, it was quite an interesting state of affairs. So we discussed it with the manufacturer and told them the application that we were interested in. We didn't want it to run the comms. We didn't want it to run showers and air conditioning machines. We wanted to have the purest supply for very high performance audio. So we started working with their head honcho technical guy and came up with a range of power supply solutions, all of which are gel lead batteries. We explored the lithium route, and that isn't appropriate, even though it's got some fantastic technical qualities. When it comes to listening to music, it has issues that manifest quite obviously. I think it's because they require such a lot of monitoring. Each of the cells need a kind of feedback loop to monitor their charging rate and their temperature, and I think it's that makes the lithium ion system sound sort of busy. There's a sort of fizzy carbonated quality to the background. You want inky black silence, a natural acoustic, and they don't seem to do it. Anyway, so yeah, we thought that it was an absolute breath of fresh air. We had a problem at the mill where we work with one of the neighbouring businesses.
Where's the mill?
In Derbyshire, in Long Eaton, in a big Victorian mill complex that's largely textiles and upholstery. And there's some big dyeing machines and huge solenoid electrical stuff going on. We're on our own little substation. Sounds fantastic on a Sunday, but for the rest of the week, it's a pretty messy state of affairs. And that
So is that where that came from?
Yeah, it transformed our working life, and we've supplied them to customers all over the world, particularly in places with dicky electricity like
France.
France, yeah. I was at a guy's house in France, and I'd got a beautiful system that he'd qualified by listening at our place. It sounded like, wet underpants. I stuck the multimeter in it sounded unbelievably drab, and yeah, it was awful.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that wet underpants comment.
190 volts. So you're trying to get a system to work where all of the electronics are configured for whatever it was, 220,
230, yeah.
And it was useless. So, you find an application that did quite a few in Thailand, But we use them at work in both of the listening studios, and they're a breath of fresh air. So this is a dinky one that we've got here for people who don't necessarily want to be listening all day. I mean, we've got a professional requirement. We want to go to the Munich show and be able to be disconnected from the grid for 2 days on the trot.
Yes,
it's an 800 ampere hour thing with 750 kilos of batteries that are, it's enormous. The sort of thing you run a forklift truck or a milk float with, yeah. So this here is two pretty substantial deep cycle, sort of thing you'd have on a lorry. And they'll give us 5 hours of fabulous performance, and it'll only be depleted till about 60% full. So we're still cycling the battery shallowly. So that'll do thousands of cycles and last for years, and you can fit it in your airing cupboard. And it was interesting today with people listening. You show them the performance difference between the national grid and that, and it's
you hear it straight away.
Well, you just don't want to be without it once you've heard it.
So, Frank, what do you know? Tell us about your turntables. Just tell us about it.
Okay.
What's the philosophy? What's the philosophy behind your turntables and arms?
Well, actually, there is no philosophy. It's just pure engineering as its best, I hope.
Okay.
Basically, we try to follow what the precision machines do. And precision machine must be done, such parts must be done that is nothing there go in the way of to vibrate, to move, in case that you get this precision out from the machine. And the same is here, you want that the cartridge, the needle just follows the groove, and the rest of the chain, if you're looking at the tona, bearings, turntable, in the way of subchassis, bearing, platter, all this chain must be solid.
Okay. So how did you get into all this? Was it music or engineering or?
It's both. It's my background is mechanical engineering, but we've been all listening vinyl records. It was the only source of music early 70s. Of course, shortage of money, you think what you can do for yourself, like everybody else.
Okay.
So you start thinking, okay, background. My background was more mechanical engineering, not electronics. So I was putting my energy and effort and try to think what's in the turntable and the tonals. And so we try experimenting, and then we came with the first turntable, and then second. Of course, then soon came this CD Nirvana. So the turntables are obsolete. Yeah, at that time, talking about in 88, 89, there was no turntables. Records were disappearing. So there was no need to do any research and development.
So did you see it as a gap in the market, or was it just pure passion to provide the best product?
Well, as I say, for a while we knew nothing about new turntables. It was okay, but then things reversed, and we start thinking, okay, what we can do, what we can get out of the records, and you start the path. You think you develop everything, what's done, but then you see there is still always space for improvement. And today, still, I would say, space for improvement. So we're following all the way, something new, something, maybe new materials, maybe new ideas. And so this turntable, it's just our latest creation in the way we try to pack in a small, solid plinth our best drive, which is consisting from the DC motor and the stiff belt, which gives this nice rotating momentum on the platter in all the time, any moment. And so we believe that we achieved that in this turntable, and it has a pluses of belt drive, pluses of direct drive, and pluses of idler drive.
Okay.
We hope without any minuses.
Well, I was chatting with Kevin earlier on about the cartridge, and you use a diamond cantilever.
Oh, the cast
Yes.
Yeah.
The diamond itself is very stiff material, and if your normal cartridge has diamond tip, and then you have some sort of a lever, called cantilever, in the way that you transfer the momentum from the groove into the coils or moving magnets or whatever. And of course, this lever must be as stiff as possible, otherwise you're losing information. And the diamond is very stiff, and also due to its property, it's also nicely generates heat away from the diamond tip.
Okay.
Whatever that means, but certainly it's better to have minimum heat in the surfaces of the diamond and the grooves. But the end result is you get just so much better sound, because it's a lot of things are removed away which you think they're normal because we're used to the other type of cantilevers.
So how do you think it compared.
I think that's the high frequency performance is so sophisticated. You know, once you've heard that, it is quite tough going back. There's a sort of, it's funny, you know, words always sort of have a negative connotation. You know, if you say that it sounds elegant, you could imagine that it couldn't tell rude jokes. I mean, it does. I mean, that Funky Porcini, that was pretty sassy and rude. You listen to piano music performances, and I was thinking that it's so resolved, but not in an analytical way. There's a sense of feeling that flows out. You think that if somebody, you know, somebody that was musically educated and could read music and notate music would be able to write the score of the piano piece that you were playing, including all of the dynamic indications that are in there. It is so beautifully naturally naked, and yet it's not a sort of, there's nothing academic about it.
The OBX speakers?
Yeah, the RW3s.
Yeah. Tell us about those.
Well, that's a design that's been evolving for a very long time. I need to work it out so that we can have an anniversary model. But the auditorium, we've got the R25A next door. That's the 25th anniversary of that. And that's been through quite a significant process of development. Some of it voluntary, some of it forced on you by supply chain issues. These are the top of the hierarchy. So we've got the crossover is outboard. It's got some pretty saucy underwear, you know, in the crossover.
That's twice you mentioned.
It is. I'm an underwear user. So we blended quite a lot of technologies, you know, and you know, I suppose a good analogy is cooking, but you know, we've created a performance balance in terms of tone and dynamics and tonal balance that we're very, very happy with our own proprietary drivers. So, yeah, I mean, and it is about the whole system. It isn't about any one part. It's about the balance of the whole. So the power supply, the equipment table, the turntable, the whole lot. And it should be put together as a considered thing. And I think one of the problems people in the audio market have as end users is something is drawn to their attention that might be a jolly good thing, the 4-point, or I don't know, those. And you put it in the context of an ill-considered system, and you won't appreciate the benefits of them at all. And the role of a hi-fi dealership or a hi-fi consultant should be to politely direct the person that is making the inquiry down a route. The customer should be asking for not stuff, they should be asking for a performance standard, and then the dealership should deliver that performance standard using whatever tools and ingredients at their disposal. But that has gone by the wayside, and the internet, for all of its great blessings, has caused people to be pretty, they make casual purchasing decisions largely based on price, not based on performance. And it's a great, great shame, because what you can get from a good system is just a joy. So, of course, there's synergy. You know, there's absolutely. It's about an approach. You know, you judge the performance balance. I mean, it's an incredibly complex thing, isn't it? I mean, there's so much going on here, and it just takes time and experience, and you get a recipe that kind of works, and you play around with variations on that recipe. But it's about presenting, you know, a coherent and transcendent musical experience, and that ain't easy.